This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Jamie Glazov Moment. Tonight, Ilhan Omar's adultery? Question mark. A stoning offense? Question mark. My friends, tonight's moment is credited to Robert Spencer, who has written a fascinating and profound and powerful, important article at Front Page Magazine very recently. And his title was, "Has Representative Ilhan Omar committed a stoning offense?" It's a question. And in his teaser, he asks, she is publicly Sharia compliant. Will she ask to be stoned? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important issue. Where's the establishment media? I haven't seen them discussing this at all. What a mystery that MSNBC and CNN are not interested in this story. A Washington, D.C. mom, Dr. Beth Minette, has alleged that her political consultant husband, Tim Minette, left her for Representative Ilhan Omar. Now, this is according to a divorce filing submitted in D.C. Superior Court. So her husband, in this divorce filing, as we're finding out, he also admitted this to her, she says. So her husband is committing adultery on her, and he's with Ilhan Omar, who's also committing adultery. On how many husbands, we don't know, and the establishment media is not going to look into it. But a very interesting story. Here's the first couple questions I have. Where's the establishment media that went crazy, for instance, over the allegations of porn star Stormy Daniels against Trump? You remember back in the day, I mean, they're still talking about it, of course, but back in the day, even at CNN, Anderson Cooper, he had to interview Stormy Daniels. Oh, he had to get to the bottom of it all. You know, he's just an investigative journalist. He had to ask Stormy Daniels, you know, about whether if Trump had used a condom or not, and all those ingredients of that interview. It was so important, so earth-shattering, so vital that Anderson Cooper was looking into all of that. You know, and the establishment media they were so concerned with ethics and morality and about this issue of adultery and this affair that allegedly Trump had with Stormy Daniels. They were just doing their job as investigative journalists. So now my question is, when are they going to bring Tim Minette onto CNN and MSNBC? When's Anderson Cooper going to bring Tim Minette on? Or his wife that's alleging this as well in her divorce filing? When's Anderson Cooper going to bring these people on and start asking Dr. Minette, for instance, whether a condom had been used in terms of her husband and Ilhan Omar, etc.? Well, this isn't going to happen, and I'm not going to hold my breath because I still want to live for a while. But it says something very, very, very intriguing and very curious, if those are two words to say, but of course revealing about where our establishment media really is. Because why isn't this front page news? For a lot of reasons. Let me get into something else that Robert Spencer was focusing on. Ilhan Omar wears hijab. The hijab is a sign of Sharia compliance. It also signals a commitment to jihad, by the way, but that's another issue. Look up Bill Warner, look up Annie Cyrus. You can also look up my name, and we've done videos on this. But Bill Warner is a must. Annie Cyrus is a must on this. So the hijab signals a commitment the hijab signals a commitment to jihad. But it's also a sign, as Robert Spencer points out, of Sharia compliance. So this may mean some trouble for Ilhan Omar because stoning adulterers is mandated in Islamic law. As Robert Spencer points out in his article at Front Page Magazine, go take a look at our archive at Front Page Mag and you'll find it. The Caliph Umar, for instance, one of Muhammad's closest companions, maintained that the penalty of stoning for adultery was not only part of Islamic law, but was originally in the highest authority for Muslims. And that highest authority is, of course, the Quran. Muhammad himself had carried out stonings and had commanded stonings. For instance, just look up in the Hadith Sahih Bukhari, for instance, where we see Muhammad giving a command to stone a man and a woman caught in adultery. So this is in the foundation of Islamic theology, in Islamic texts, in Islamic law, in Sharia. Muhammad commanded these things and participated in it himself. The stoning for adultery, mandated under Sharia law. So the question is now, how does this fit with Ilhan Omar's philosophy in terms of her commitment to Sharia law, and also in terms of the community that she exists in terms of what Sharia supporters believe in? And so Robert Spencer, again, is asking a very important question. Has Ilhan Omar committed a stoning-worthy offense under Sharia? Well, as also he says in his article, only she and Tim Mynett know this for sure. So my question is, when is the establishment media going to be investigating this and asking these vital questions? When are Sharia supporters going to investigate this? When are the leaders, the imams and the sheikhs and the muftis and the clerics, when are they going to be looking into all this? I mean, this is a serious offense under Sharia, and we know what happens to people who are accused of adultery in Iran, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, and Ilhan Omar supports what's happening there because she supports Sharia law. A lot of questions here, complete silence in our media, in our establishment media. Thank you to Robert Spencer for covering this. And Robert asks another very important question at the end of his article, and I'll quote from it. And he says, if Omar did engage in adultery with Tim Mynett, he asks, quote, will this lead her to be more generous in her appraisal of her adopted country, which, unlike the country of her birth, will not require her death for this offense? Question mark. End of quote. Very important question, Robert. Thank you for asking that. It's interesting that Ilhan Omar hates the United States, hates America, hates its foundations, and yet supports an ideology that would take her life if she is guilty of what she is being accused of right now. Will we find out if it's true? Again, the establishment media not doing its job. What do you think? Get involved in social media, in the political discourse, in the social discourse in this country, in our culture war, and please continue to fight for the truth and for our democracy and for our self-preservation in the face of our enemies. We'll see you on the Jamie Glazov Moment very soon. Good night.